we all have emotional addictions, and acknowledging that again is not something bad. It's just to recognize that some emotions are more charged than others because of the traumas that we have gone through, and even they can be healed. Like emotional addictions can be healed, and it's just to have the right tools to do it. Once we start recognizing that we have an addiction to a particular emotion, and that can be anger, rage, sadness, shame, guilt, whatever, jealousy, insecurity. The thing is that sometimes one emotion may be masking another emotion because the second emotion is even more painful. So it may be easier for you to get angry rather than feel sad. So the sadness remains hidden, and that is why you stay addicted to anger, so that every time you're going to feel sad or every time there is a trigger to feel sad, you get your drug of anger out. This is generally how drugs work, is that they numb you from feeling or they distract you from feeling certain things. So every time you feel a danger of loneliness, for example, you need some distraction. And there can be all kinds of distractions. For many people, like if they're feeling lonely, they may have substance addictions, they may be addicted to TV, or they are addicted to people. Like if they're feeling lonely, they have to pick up the phone and call someone and talk mindlessly. They're not talking because there is something to talk about. They're just talking to fill the space, to fill the time, not to make that feeling of loneliness go away. But this will not heal the wound. A lot of the times, people think that just talking to a friend will heal my loneliness or fix my loneliness. But you can talk forever and you can still continue to feel lonely. The way to heal the loneliness requires more specific techniques because the loneliness is being felt by something much deeper within you. And just talking to a friend may not change that. So we have to heal at the deeper level. This is what real emotional healing is to heal the root, not just what I'm feeling in the moment, but to feel or to heal the source of what I'm feeling in the moment. And for some people, they go to the extreme of depression, which can also become an addiction, because in depression, you stop feeling anything. That is like very extreme depression. You're feeling depressed, but feeling depressed is, and I'm saying this out of experience because I have had depression for a long time. But when you're feeling depressed, you're basically feeling nothing. If you go deeper into the depression, you will start feeling things. But what people are addicted to is feeling nothing, is to feeling numb. Because to feel something is too painful, to feel something makes them powerless, to feel something they don't know what to do with the feeling. So their solution, their survival mechanism is depression. But just to recognize that if you have long-term depression and you're not able to get out of it, acknowledging that it is a survival mechanism, again, is to remove the judgment and criticism for it, is to stop fighting it, and is to start recognizing I need the depression, it has a purpose, it is helping me in some way, and now I have to find a better way to help myself, because it is possible for me to feel things, it is possible for me to heal my emotions, so I no longer need the depression to save me.
I don't know, there's something about the way, like you mentioning survival, that's linked it differently in my brain. Because yes, that like I've thought about it in the past as maybe it has a use, it has a function. But there's something about like it's intricately linked to my survival. It made me think of like it's a parachute.
More than a parachute, I would call it a bunker. That is
Uh-huh.
that is a more appropriate analogy, because you're literally locking yourself into a place where you are disconnected from everything. But it is for your protection. It is because the outside world is dangerous. You go into this cocoon of depression where you don't feel anything. And then that itself starts becoming oppressive, and you enter into this extremely uncomfortable state where you can't get out of it, even though you hate it. But it is better than the alternative of feeling something that is dangerous. So we have different survival mechanisms for different things that are happening, right? The most basic instincts are fight and flight. Then came freeze. But freeze is a more complex mechanism because it operates at many levels. It, of course, operates at the physical level where you can become paralyzed because you are in physical danger and you don't want to feel the pain of whatever is happening, the physical pain. But depression for me is also a form of freezing your emotion. So it is, again, an instinctive thing that you're doing. And the more advanced state of it is dissociation, where you are no longer in your being, in your personality. You escape, because even to be present. So in depression, you are still present, you're just not feeling things. You're present in a very superficial way. But in dissociation, you disconnect completely. I am not here anymore. But yeah, these for me are survival mechanisms. We have found one way to get through this difficult phase, and maybe someday in the future, I find a way to get out of it. But if not, I will remain in this paralysis as long as I need to survive. So even if you are going through a 30-year-long depression, which I've worked with people who have gone through a 30-year-long depression, you can still get out of it. It's just to recognize what is the function of it and what is going on underneath that, and to trust in yourself that you have the power to deal with whatever is going on underneath that.
I feel like dissociation, that word, and I know it's like my own subjective interpretation, but that word doesn't really cut it. Like to say, like, because dissociation, it does bring to my mind, I am slightly distancing myself slightly from something or someone. There's a little bit of space there, and it it doesn't really, I think, cover like the whole magnitude, because I know there must be different degrees of dissociation as well. Like daydreaming dissociation must be really different from, like, is it depersonalization, derealization, and all of that end of the spectrum?
Yeah.
Right, really different.
Yeah. There are degrees and degrees of dissociation. For some people, they just need light dissociation to keep functioning, which I'm guessing is what you're talking about. And some people dissociate to very high degrees that they may not even be present here anymore. Or they come for like very short visits and they go away.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the lessons I got in my own journey, because I suffered from pretty intense dissociation and depersonalization, was that you can become so dissociated from yourself that you don't even recognize yourself anymore. And you have taken on so many projections from the outside world about how bad you are, or how bad. I will just leave it there, because bad is like very comprehensive. It's a very comprehensive term. It's a very broad term, and it covers everything. So in my opinion, depersonalization is when you believe it is a danger to be you. So you stop being you. You disconnect from being you, and you may enter into a parallel personality, or you just may become completely numb and you are nothing. And when you start returning from that, what can happen is that you actually start thinking that you are evil, because you're coming into contact with all the projections of people about you. So when you start seeing you, you start seeing something evil. And this is something that happens to everyone at some degree, is when they meet their shadow, they think that they have evil parts. But basically, that is when you see yourself through the filter of cultural perception. So you may see your power as being something evil. So you have to be someone who's very nice and proper and gentle. But if you are a powerful person, you are evil, because that is a program that has been installed in you, is that powerful people are evil people. So you yourself becoming powerful means you are evil. So when you start coming into contact with your power, you may actually start thinking, I am evil. Or you may start seeing yourself as having an evil part, or whatever. But in reality, it's just you and your power, and it's actually a good thing that has been poisoned with beliefs. And I went through this, so I'm talking from personal experience. The thing that saved me is that I did not ever believe in religion. So when I started seeing myself as a devil, I immediately started realizing that, of course, I don't believe in the devil, but this is how I have come to look at myself. This is how I've come to look at myself through the perceptions of others and what other people say about me, or what other people say about other, and me having those same qualities, and by association, I am also evil.
Evil, like real, not just like I don't
Evil is,
like this. This is
again,
yucky.
it's a very broad spectrum. It's a very broad spectrum, but people use the word evil for even very minor things. Like power is evil, money is evil for a lot of people. Money and power are evil. So to see, when I encountered the part of me that has power, I saw it as the devil. Until I learned and realized that no, this is just a story I'm saying, and it's just, I can discharge that, and I can just use power in the way I want, not how people believe power is supposed to be used or how it is used. I can use my power with compassion. That is my choice. My story was very extreme because of my circumstances and some drug abuse, especially. But I think this is something every single human is dealing with, just in a different way. Most people are very identified with their ego, with their story of who they are supposed to be and how they see themselves, and their shadow, which is the real part of who they are, but they have disconnected from it, which they don't want to see or accept, which has very wonderful qualities too. They may see this as evil within themselves, just based on stories that they have taken from the outside world. So the whole story of I have to fight the evil within me, what is that evil? It is just you. What I classify as evil now, at this stage of my journey, are these programs that disconnect us from our authenticity, from our real self, from our power. And there are, like, those are real forces in the universe. So I do believe evil exists, it's just not what we think it is. But evil, again, there is a purpose for it. I'm not saying evil is bad. Evil is just what it is. Evil has its role in reality.
And does this tie into identification then?
Yeah, what I was talking about is basically identification. What is identification? It is a quality of consciousness or an ability of consciousness to attach to anything. So if we can look at consciousness as something that is completely pure, is just a pure entity that is nothing more than a sense of self. But the purest sense of self which has no story. The moment this sense of self attaches itself to something, that is identification. So it can attach itself to different things. It can attach itself to beliefs, can attach itself to stories, to illusions, to the body, to different energy bodies. This is identification, is that when you start saying, I am something, that is identification. So I am this name, I am this nationality, this personality, this body, whatever it is, this belief. When you start realizing all that is just identification, and you can actually choose to identify with anything. Of course, you can choose to identify with different illusions, or you can choose not to identify. You can choose to become more and more disidentified and start seeing all these as tools for operating in different situations, scenarios, and reality. So if I can recognize that this body is a tool to operate in this reality, to perceive this reality, and to interact with this reality. I am not this body. I am using this body as a tool. Just the same way, like I use my car as a tool to move in this reality. I use this body like a car to move and operate and interact with this reality. And at different levels, you have different attachments, which need not be attachments. So beliefs can be attachments and identification, or beliefs can be tools that help you to navigate reality. So instead of becoming identified with the belief and saying, I am a good person, whatever that means to you, you can start making it a tool where I will use my mind, my body, my heart, my soul, whatever it is, to help other people to function in this reality, whatever it is. You are no longer becoming attached to a particular identity or story. Because being good, once you put that condition, then you have to define what being good looks like. And then you start putting yourself more and more into a prison. Once you start defining what good looks like, you may have to do it even when it is not helpful for the other person, because you have to stay attached to this identity of being a good person. So this is what a lot of saviors are doing, is that they are good people and they have to keep doing good things, even if it is not helping anyone anymore, even if it is actually hurting them, but it looks good. Well, how is that possible? Is that maybe by helping someone, you are enabling their powerlessness. You're basically saying that you cannot do it, I will do it for you. In the case that it is really that this person cannot do it and you're helping them, that is wonderful. But this is the distinction we have to make, because a lot of the times we want to do things for people just to look helpful, to feel good about ourselves. And in that, we end up disempowering others. So part of healing the savior complex is letting go this identity that I'm a good person. Again, just be a human, a full human.